Hello fellow campers, today we're talking about 10, that's right, 10 rookie mistakes that new RVers have made. Hey, welcome to Two Camping Gurus. If you like camping in the great outdoors, you are in the right place. Alright, mistake number 1. Now this will be kind of a fun video, and not so fun, I guess, depending on where you stand in the situation. But mistake number 1 is forgetting about or not knowing about, if you're new, tail swing. Now, this did not happen to me, but it did happen to somebody I know. They were pumping gas, they finished pumping gas, and as they were pulling out and turning, the tail of the unit swings wide on some of the trails, but they were in an RV, and the bumper hit one of those big cement pillars at the gas pump. So thank God the pillar was there. It stopped any damage to the pump itself, but it did, mess up the bumper and cause a little bit of damage. So tip number 1 is don't forget about tail swing. And typically that's something that a new camper driver doesn't always take into consideration. All right, and keeping along that theme, rookie mistake number 2 is forgetting about bottoming out. Some driveways, when you're pulling out of parking lots and stuff, they have a little dip and then it goes back up. And there are cases where sometimes you can get hung up, or if you're going fast enough, you may not get hung up. But in my dad's case once, he made it through, but he tore the spare tire right out from underneath the unit. So you got to be careful of these really low dips and stuff in roads, pulling out of driveways and parking lots and things like that. This is a rookie mistake that has been made many times, and typically it will cause some pretty significant damage underneath your unit. Rookie mistake number 3 is not, this one I'm going to get a little bit more detail, but really it's about not knowing your unit thoroughly enough. So I knew somebody in a situation where they took off camping and they blew a fuse in the camper. It actually was the one that ran their overhead AC. However, they had no idea where the fuse panel was in the unit. So they were gone for over 2 weeks. And when they got home, they finally found where the fuse unit was. The camper had been modified and a bureau had been put in and had blocked that fuse panel. So the whole trip, or at least half of it, they had to run a heavy-duty drop cord from somewhere else and power the AC in another way. So it made for a really uncomfortable situation. This big heavy cord hanging in the camper the whole way. So know your unit, know where your fuses are, know where your breakers are. So if you have a situation like that, you can fix it right away. Rookie mistake number 4, and that is not knowing the height of your RV. Now, most places you go, you are safe, because they are kept under the legal height limit. However, there are places you can go that the bridges are not tall enough for them. There is a popular YouTube channel out there, more than one, that show a bridge that people are hitting constantly, and several of the vehicles have been RV or travel trails where it's swooped and cleaned the ACs and everything right off the top of the unit. So know the maximum height of your RV, and then also know your route so you don't run into a situation that could be scary. And that actually happened to me once. No, we didn't cause any damage. We were able to get off that highway before it was caused a situation. But shame on us for not knowing where we were. Rookie mistake number 5, and that is forgetting to unplug your unit or even unhook a hose before you leave your campsite. And I've seen this happen too. You're packing everything up, you're in a hurry or whatever, you think you got everything, and the power cord's black, you don't really notice it, it's not really big, and you pull away. Next thing you know, you're getting gas somewhere, and you notice you have 30 feet of cord dragged behind you that's all damaged. Again, I've seen this happen, and you lose the end of the cord. It usually gets banged up pretty bad. If it doesn't tear it right out, cause even more damage. So make sure you take the time to do a walk around. At the end of this video, I will talk about a link that you can go to get a pre-trip checklist for free. That will help avoid these type of situations. Mistake number 6 is to not check your tires. Before you leave, make sure your tires are at the proper pressure. Make sure they are not weather cracked or worn down to where they are not safe. This is another situation I've seen. A camper was picked up really cheap. It was an older unit. The tires, the tread looked great on them. However, they were dry rotted and you couldn't really tell. And when the person took off within that first 100 miles, they had blown 3, it might have even been 4 tires that they had to replace because these tires are so dry from sitting around for years and years and years. So make sure you check your tires. Luckily for their situation, nobody got hurt, nothing happened, there was no accident. They just blew tires one right after another within the course of a day or two, and they had to replace them. But it caused a hectic beginning of the trip that didn't have to be if more time was taken to make sure these things were checked. All right, number 7 is not knowing the controls of your unit, how things, what runs what, where switches are what, Again, this goes to knowing how to back and park your camper. You do that practicing while you're still at home. Do the same thing. If you're new to a unit, take the time to go through it, know where your switches are, what lights they turn on, or what switches run the awning, if it's electric awning, or your slide outs, things like this. Where are the shut-off valves? Where are your breakers, which I talk about in another video? Where are your drain valves for winterizing the unit? Know where this stuff is ahead of time, so if you have a situation, you can get to it quickly and avoid any major problems. Mistake number 8, and that is not properly draining your black and gray water tanks. Now when I say properly, I don't know if there's a proper way, if there's rules, but there are ways that make it a lot easier. And one of those is draining them in a particular order. I always drain the black tank first, and anybody will tell you the same thing because you want that flushed out. Then when you drain the gray water, which is not nearly as terrible, that kind of washes that hose out, and you don't have any of that lingering black water in your hose. And I usually kind of shake the hose as the gray water is draining to rinse out the ridges because the hose are really kind of bumpy. So drain your black water first. Rinse the tank if you have a jet system where you can hook a hose. Drain it again, then drain your gray water and do the same thing. This will keep your sewer hose as clean as it possibly can. It's not clean, but as clean as it possibly can. Cut down on odor and a lot of other issues. Now this is a big mistake that a lot of people have made, and that's not checking ahead for parking. Depending on where you might be going, you might have a big rig that you can't get in. So you need to make sure you know if there is parking where you're going to be. Some of these museums and things that you might be going to, I know I've run into this myself. If you get into the city with a bigger rig, then it's very difficult to get out of some areas if you don't know where you're going and to find good parking. So call ahead, check ahead, go online, find out what kind of parking is available in proximity of where you want to be. I know one time I think it was in Chattanooga maybe, and I actually was trying to find a parking spot, and I found one where you could pay, and I was all fine with paying. I went to pull in, and the guy waved me down. No RVs parking here. He had plenty of room, but he didn't want RVs to park there. Eventually I was at a red light, and a police officer was coming the other way, and I opened my window and asked him, and he told me where there was some public parking. But that caused us an extra hour of driving around trying to find a spot that we could safely park the vehicle for the day. So do that ahead of time. Know where you're going to park. It'll save you a lot of hassle. Number 10 rookie mistake, and I think I still do this sometimes, is bring too much stuff with you. Your mind says you're trying to prepare for everything, which is great. However, the whole idea of camping is to get away from it all and kind of really relax and get back to nature and have a good time and not be burdened with all the stuff. Now with that said, there are things you need. You gotta have your clothes, you gotta have food, you gotta have stuff like that. But typically we overpack. It's not helpful for space in your unit. It's not helpful for weight and fuel consumption. And then things, sometimes things are just in your way, and half of the stuff I found many times in the beginning we never even used. One thing we always thought, oh, let's have plenty of games so we can play games. Typically when you're out and about, there's so many other things you want to do. The last thing you do is play games or even watch movies. Not me. I just don't do it. But yeah, every time we brought a stack of DVDs and a whole pile of games, and they just took up a whole cupboard for no reason whatsoever. Now this may be different for you. Maybe you're a big game player, or you have children that you need a lot of movies or whatever, things like that. That's fine, but take into consideration of what you're packing, how long you're going to be gone for, and don't overpack. Chances are, if you forget something, you won't miss it anyways. Alright, so that was 10 rookie mistakes that new RVers make. And if you're looking to avoid these, hopefully this video helps, but also I have a free ebook and checklist you can download for free. It's in the link just below here. It's pretripchecklist.gr8.com, or just click on the link, it'll take you right over. And that's, like I said, it's a free ebook and checklist. You can use that to help avoid a lot of these situations going forward. Anyway, thanks for swinging by and have a great day.